Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I'm going to read a little bit, both from and about Barbara Gittings. Barbara Gittings was a pioneering activist who helped organize the first demonstrations for lesbian and gay civil rights, worked to have homosexuality declassified as a mental illness, and worked closely with the American Library Association to promote LGBTQ literature. In this passage from her partner Kay Tobin Labuson's book, The Gay Crusaders, Gittings recounts her early experiences cross-dressing and going to gay bars in the 1950s, as well as how she became an activist. I'm just going to read a little bit about her early days trying to find a gay community. And this is from the Stonewall Reader, edited by the New York Public Library and published by Penguin Classics. On weekends, dressed as a boy, I'd hitch rides with truckers up Route 1 to New York City to go to the gay bars. At first, I didn't know of any gay bars in Philadelphia. I had a lot of trouble getting plugged into the gay community. I spent agonized years trying to find a comfortable social life, and the bars were the only place I had to start looking. Since I didn't have much money and didn't like to drink anyway, I'd hold a glass of ice water and pretend it was gin on the rocks. I'd get into conversation with other women, but I'd usually find we didn't really have any common interests. We just happened both to be gay. I didn't run into any lesbians who shared my interests in books and hostel trips and Baroque music. They all seemed to groove on Peggy Lee and Frank Sinatra, and nothing older. It was only later, in other settings, that I found gay people I was really congenial with. In those days, I felt there was no real place for me in the straight culture, but the gay bar culture wasn't the place for me either. It was a painful and confusing time in my life. I wore drag because I thought that was a way to show I was gay. It's changed now, but in the early 50s, there were basically two types of women in the gay bars: the so-called butch ones in short hair and plain masculine attire, and the so-called femme ones in dresses and high heels and makeup. I knew high heels and makeup weren't my personal style, so I thought, I must be the other kind, and I dressed accordingly. What a waste of time and energy. I was really a mixed-up kid. The only other models, the only other images of homosexual people I had to look to were in the books, and there too much was made of differentiating both lesbians and male homosexuals into masculine and feminine types. This differentiating is disappearing very fast today, not only for gays, but for straights too. Nowadays, people generally feel freer to look and act whatever way they feel most comfortable, and they don't so readily follow set patterns. It was risky as well as inappropriate for me to be in drag. One night in Philadelphia, I left a mixed bar with a male gay acquaintance, and outside there were two Marines who put on brass knuckles and attacked my friend. "We'd beat you up too, Sonny, if you weren't wearing glasses," one told me. When they left, I took my companion to the hospital where he had 13 stitches put in his face. So those are the words of Barbara Gittings from The Gay Crusaders, written by her partner, and excerpted here in this anthology. And these are the times to which our Christo-fascist government in Washington wishes us to return, as well as, of course, a huge segment of the Christian national population that adhere to Christo-fascist ideals, these binaries, these imposed binaries, which are not very congruent with the lived realities of people. So let me just continue on with a little bit. Saturdays a little bit of narration here. Saturdays in New York, Barbara spent combing musty Fourth Avenue secondhand bookstores looking for more gay fiction. In most of the novels, homosexuality brought suffering or downright tragedy. Even so, they represented a history, a people, a sense of community. For me, these books were a large part of my early liberation. My sense of myself as a lesbian came from the fiction literature, certainly not from psychiatry-drenched texts. And of course, I always think about the really dark foundations of psychiatry. And I am old enough, I was born in the early 60s, so I have enough of a personal touch with the past to remember when information was scarce and wanting to learn about anything, all that one had was these false postulates. Nowadays, people generally feel freer to look and act whatever way they feel most comfortable, and they don't so readily follow set patterns. Well, there is this movement in the United States now to force people to conform to these set patterns. And as Bartleby the Scribner said, I prefer not to. Thank you for stopping by my channel.